Today, I'm sitting down with someone who brings equal parts humor, heart, and total honesty everywhere she goes. Kristin Key is a nationally touring comedian, musician, and podcaster whose quick wit and musical comedy have made her a standout on NBC's Last Comic Standing, Bring the Funny, Dry Bar Comedy, and stages across the country. Kristin has built a career on turning real life, the awkward parts, the tender parts, the painful parts we usually don't talk about, into something we can all laugh at and feel a little less alone in. She's known for her lightning-fast improv, her brilliant musical parodies, and her ability to walk into a room and make people forget that they were carrying anything heavy. I've experienced this personally. And what I love most about her is her honesty. Kristin is open about her sobriety, her identity, and how comedy has been a healing force in her life. Kristin currently hosts the show Kristin Knows Blank podcast, continues to tour nationally, and has created countless viral videos that have earned her an incredibly loyal fan base. Kristin, I am so excited to have you on the podcast today.
Oh, with that intro, I'm so happy to be on. Wow, I feel so important.
You are important, and what I love about Kristin, well, I'm just lucky to say I can call her a friend. This is not just someone I'm having on the podcast that I sometimes find people online or they find me and they ask to be on, but you've truly become a friend over the years, and I'm so excited to have other people hear your story. So we'll just start at the beginning. When did your lifelong journey to where you are today begin?
Wow. I'm assuming that we're talking about sobriety. When did sobriety begin for me?
Very much so.
Okay. Yeah. Because I'm like, oh, I was born in the 80s, and but no, I got sober, or my last drink was August 30th, 2016. So my first day sober, or day one, my sobriety date is August 31st, 2016.
Nice. Yeah. So take us back to, when did you know that alcohol was an issue for you? For some people, it's their first drink, and for some people, it happens later.
You know, I definitely didn't know for my first drink, but looking back, I always drink alcoholically, because I think the first time I drank was with one of my aunts in her barn, and we were drinking Natty Light. And
oh yes, I'm from the East Coast.
Yeah. We had natty Lights, and I never had a beer, but she didn't know that, and so she was like, I was like maybe 15, 16. She goes, "Do you want a beer?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Wait, do you drink beer?" I was like, "Yes." Like, this is not my first beer. And then I drank like 8, and I woke up feeling like weird, but also like, oh, okay, because I felt amazing. And then the second time I drank as many drinks as there were in the 6-pack, and then continued my journey to drinking. I didn't come from a drinking family. My dad's a minister. My mom's a preacher's kid, preacher's wife. Both my grandpas are ministers. My uncle's a minister, and all for a church where like drinking is not a thing. It's just like nobody drinks in that church. It's like temperance is the thing. And so I got like kicked out of my church, or asked to leave my church, when I came out of the closet at 16. And so at that point, like, I had never really thought about drinking, other than like some beers with my aunt. It's like, it wasn't a thing, wasn't a plan for me. And then I started drinking because that's what bad kids did, and I was told I was a bad kid. And so I was just like, well, whatever, now I'll just drink whenever I can. And it really helped me fit into this new world that I lived in, where I'd grown up in such a religious household where like it was my thing, like I didn't just grow up. I loved it. I loved being a preacher's kid. I loved being a church kid. I went to church all the time, and I loved going to church camp, and I loved singing and doing all the churchy things. And then when I was told you can't have this anymore as a teenager, I was like, oh no. And then like all my friends from church didn't want to be my friend anymore. And then I was told by people, we don't even want you around our children. And I was like, oh no. And so I even tried to go back to like the church and get help from like help. And they were like, not if you're going to be gay. And I was like, oh. And so, what do you do? I was like living in a like emotionally and verbally abusive relationship with a lady that was much older than me. And so this world just seemed like there's no out. I dropped out of high school to like support us, and because I wasn't living with my parents anymore, and it seemed like all the walls were closing in, like physically and spiritually, and I had nowhere to turn at that time. And so thank God for alcohol and weed, because I was able to live in the world again. I'm like, okay, well, now we can manage. My best friend still has pictures when we go through the old, look at us when we were young. She was like, in every picture I'm eating and Kristin is drinking and smoking a cigarette. And true enough, every single picture I'm drinking and smoking a cigarette. And that's like from like 18 to 30 something, whatever, that was me.
Yeah, I talk a lot on this show about how alcohol was the solution. It wasn't necessarily the problem at first. This is what I used to cope with those big emotions and feelings that I had nowhere to put, and you felt abandoned.
Yeah. I was told I didn't belong in church. I mean, that's a big rug to get pulled out from under you, especially when you believed the way they believed. You're like, oh man, I don't belong, and like I am screwed. And as a gay person, to anybody listening that is gay, that grew up religious, I mean, you do all the things to try to be like, you don't just go like, oh, well, sucks to be. It's like, oh, I tried to not be gay. I dated guys. I dated them in a innocent way, and then I also did it in a very like perverted way, just like whatever I always say I was a slut for Jesus for a while, just to try to, whatever will get me back in with my parents and with the religion, like I'll do what it takes. And then at some point it was just like, I prayed and prayed and prayed about it to this God that I didn't think loved me, like made me not gay no more, and I guess the answer was just continually, no, you're gay. Look at your hair. Look at you. You're gay, and it is what it is. I'm gay. But it took a really long time to live in the world as a gay lady and be okay with it without alcohol.
Yeah. And so you're using these substances to cope. What happened when it started to become a problem?
That was sad. So first there were consequences, because it wasn't a problem. It's just first there were consequences to my drinking. And that was, unfortunato, because the first time I went to jail, like I remember thinking, what is a nice girl like me doing in a place like this? I am a good Christian, like churchy, I'm a nice kid. And so the first time I was just like, I was the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people, and I'm the only one who went to jail. This was a fluke, whatever. And the next time I went to jail, I was like, why does this keep happening to me? Why am I in jail again? By the third time I went to jail, I mean, it's just like I knew there's a problem and I don't know how to solve it. And I just kept on. And then I ended up in the hospital, covered in blood, like fighting with a paramedic after almost a near-death car accident. And it's what I've learned about alcohol, the funny part about it is, after each one of those times, it was a matter of hours, minutes, days before I had another drink in my hand, And I'll hear other people talk about their friends who are like, oh, I can't believe they would get so drunk they have kids. Like, would they, like, you don't drink like that if you have kids. Like, sure you do. If you have a drinking problem and you are untreated, there's no logic. I can't nice girl my way out of picking up a drink after I've, just had to call my wife and parents from jail, or had someone's car impounded, or whatever, consequence. So the consequences started, but they spanned out over a decade. There was a decade worth of just strange incidences, which, if they're not happening every day or every weekend, you just go, oh, well, that sucks. I'll really have to think about that. And
were you telling yourself at this time when you would be in jail, like, I'm going to stop drinking when I get out? Or did you have any inclination that you needed to stop? Was it an internal struggle as well as these external consequences?
No, I was a victim. The world is against me. The universe is set up against me. And I am living an unwinnable hand of cards. This is what I was dealt. I'm a gay kid with a preacher dad. I'm kind of in the closet, and you drink too if you had to live my life and wake up like me every day. So going to jail, figures. This is the life that I was handed. This is the life I live. My life's not great. And so sometimes I feel better because I drink and smoke weed and forget about these things, or whatever. Like I was molested as a kid, and they just like you would drink too if you had the same set of circumstances I did, or when those things pop up in your brain, like how do you get through the life, So it's like I was a sad, angry person.
Oh, I have goosebumps because it's so true. You would drink too if you'd been through what I'd been through.
Yeah.
And that's it. The world revolved around me when I was drinking, and everything was done to me, not for me. So at this time, what are you doing for work?
I was a comedian. I was a working...
You were? You had already started?
Working,
okay.
touring stand-up comedian since I was 19 years old. So I was a stand-up... Because I dropped out of high school when I was 16. I was set to graduate early because I had enough credits and I was in the advanced program. So I had great grades, was on track to graduate a year early. My junior, senior year was combined. And so 3 months shy of graduating my junior year, I dropped out of high school because I couldn't live at home anymore. I was having trouble going to school while living with a woman and keeping a job, and so I just left. I just quit, and so I got my GED after a little while. Went to college to be a paramedic for a little while, and then I found stand-up at 19, and it was a great escape from my small town. In recovery, call it a geographic, where you just move and you can run away from your problems. Well, now I can run away from my problems every weekend. I go somewhere new. So my first gig was, I think, right before I turned 20. I got to go to New Mexico and do a gig at a little bar. They didn't know I wasn't 21, so I got to drink there. And so then I started playing casinos that I wasn't allowed to go into, and they would serve me. And then I got in trouble a few years later when I finally got my ID and turned 21. They're like, "You haven't been 21. You're oh boy." Anyway, so yeah. So for a long time, I was on the road and living when sometimes I've heard people say in recovery that they lower their bar to meet where they are. They lower the bar to meet their lifestyle. My lifestyle went perfect with my alcoholism. I am now, have a career where you can drink on stage and just go city to city, find some weed along the way, and stay drunk forever.
So were you using comedy like as a mask for pain, or was it more of a lifeline to stay in something to keep you from hitting a bottom sooner?
Both.
Yeah.
Because I was in the closet. I came out of the closet at 16. I took it back at 19 and then stayed in the closet until I was 35. And so I could go on stage and have a voice, even though I couldn't say what I wanted to say. At least I could be heard, at least like I'm a loud, confident person in the room. I get to take control of this whole audience and usually beat them up pretty bad. I was a very mean comic to the audience. I was the kind of comic that I don't care for now. And I did all those things. I made, the kind of jokes that right now I would never tolerate being around. I would punch down. I was, anything for a laugh. And I was always a little drunk on stage, and you know what, my career, it wasn't in the toilet, but it was just like, I was just getting by. I got on TV at 25 and that was like, all right, well now, you know what? Now the door's open. I'm going to be great. I can drink however I want, but I didn't know how to pursue new goals or anything because, it's real time consuming to, be drunk all the time.
Yeah, or hungover.
Right. And I've talked to other comics in program.
Yeah, you're not looking at your life goals. What's my 5-year plan when you have a hangover so bad you can barely think?
Yeah. Instead, I would be thinking on stage, I'm like, if they knew how drunk I was right now, I feel like they would be laughing harder. If they really knew how hard this is, I should be getting more credit for this. Instead of, how much better would I be if I was sober? That just never crossed my mind.
Yeah,
I didn't think
definitely.
It was a possibility. Yeah. I
can only imagine where you were at that point. So tell us about your rock bottom. What was the last time you drank?
Oh boy. I did a great last hurrah. And it wasn't, I didn't end on a consequence. A lot of people's rock bottoms and consequences correlate. But a consequence is not a rock bottom. A rock bottom is I think, emotional, not so much circumstantial. Although some people's circumstantial is what leads them to an emotional rock bottom. For me, I just went to lunch with some friends. They had just had a baby. And so I got to hold their baby. And while we were having lunch, one of the friends that did not, it was a lesbian couple. And the one that did not have the baby said, "Do you want to have a beer?" I was like, "Oh yeah, what is it? Like 11? Yeah, let's have a beer." We had 2 beers at lunch. And then she said, "Come over to the house. I'll get some more beers." I was like, "This is the best day ever. Yeah, I'll drink some beers with you." She got an 18-pack. We drank the 18-pack, the 2 of us. And then my wife had just gotten a promotion at work and asked me if I wanted to meet her for dinner. And my friends were like, "You should not go to this." And I was like, "What the fuck? No, I'll leave my car here. I'll Uber. All is well." And I went to meet my wife. We had, this is where I stopped being there. But apparently I was at dinner, had a bottle of wine, and then wandered off. And they found me wandering down Rosecrans playing air guitar, wearing white pants. I don't know why I like to say white, but I was in white pants playing air guitar, wandering down Rosecrans. My wife and her friend, her colleague from work, picked me up, took me home. I then did what I do. I put on records in a blackout, drank vodka, and listened to my records and got angry and sad, and then broke everything in the living room. And then, so my rock bottom was the next morning when I woke up. And I went downstairs, and I had destroyed my whole living room, and there was broken glass everywhere, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to tell my wife so that she wouldn't leave me, because I'm pretty sure she was going to wake up and be mad, and I couldn't remember why I was mad the night before, but I thought I'd, like, threatened suicide, and I couldn't remember. I was like, oh, shit, you know. And I was sitting there on the couch coming up with the speech that I was about to give her, and the words, obviously I fucked up and all this, and then I was like, this won't happen again, and then that was my rock bottom. I started crying by myself on the couch, because I knew I could not say that, because I knew it was going to happen again. This will happen again. I don't know why it keeps happening. I don't know why I keep ending up in jail. I don't know why I keep ending up in the hospital or with broken things around me. And so I just sat there on the couch and I cried, and that was my rock bottom. I was beaten. I knew for certain I just knew that I will continue fucking everything up, and I really like my wife. So I didn't know what to do.
Well, and that's the thing. No one was sitting there yelling at you, pointing at you, telling you what to do. It was really the rock bottom, like you said, was internal, emotional, and very much your decision.
Yeah.
This is it. So what happened from there? How did you get help?
So I was crying and like having a dramatic moment, and outward I was, oh God, and I was like, help me. And then I kept crying, and then I had this weird thought pop into my head to go Google AA or a 12-step program, whatever. I Googled anyway. So I went upstairs and I Googled a meeting, and I went, and that changed a lot for me.
How did you feel when you were Googling that meeting and showing up to the meeting?
I think in Googling it, I really thought, this'll get everybody off my back. This Googling should probably be enough. I don't have to go. And so I'm just going to Google. And then I found one that was about to start. And I was like, not that one, because that's right now. I found one at 1:30 in the afternoon in a real rich part of town where probably rich people won't have big concerts. I don't want to hear about someone losing a kid. I want to hear maybe someone missed a boat payment. I want to go be with the people that's it's not a big deal. And then I did actually show up. I sat in the parking lot of some church, which I was like, it's like that Indiana Jones movie where Harrison Ford is like, oh, snakes, why did it have to be snakes? I'm like, oh no, church, why did it have to be a church? I don't want to go to a church. Don't make me go inside of a church. But I don't know what else to do. That finally I got out of my car, and this nice lady who was walking in, she was like, oh, is this your first time? And I guess I just looked like it was my first time. I mean, now I can spot them too. I'm like, oh, there, honey. Hi. You having trouble finding the door? You've been in your car for an hour. Here, let me help you in. So this nice lady walked me in, and then I cried through a whole 12-step recovery meeting. But for me, it was wonderful because I felt hope for the first time in, a long time. I felt very hopeful, and nobody was preaching in there, and it was not Jesus-y, and it wasn't what I remember. And so, and nobody got religious on me, which is so important because I was looking for reasons to leave, and I stayed through and it was a long one, a 1:30 in Rolling Hills. Jesus, I don't know if you've been. It's on Wednesday. No offense, guys, but it's an hour and a half with a break in the middle, and they expect you to stay. But I didn't know where else to go, so I picked a really bad one to start.
I hate the 1.5 hour ones, and then the break in the middle. It's like, who's got time for that?
Who's got time for this? But
obviously
again,
you did.
Well, it was either be here at this meeting or go home and pack my shit because I think my wife's leaving me today.
Exactly.
So it's like, all right, I guess I got an hour and a half. There's cake. I could use some cake today. I've been crying for a solid 45 now in a room full of strangers, so I could eat some cake.
Yeah.
And just to put it out there, that I haven't had a drink since. So
that's incredible.
That wild thought to Google and then go to the meeting and then sit through the meeting, there's a lot more along the way, but that led to now 9 years and a couple months without any drinks or pots or anything. just super, super sober.
And you talk so openly about sobriety now. What did early sobriety look like for you emotionally? What really came up when numbing couldn't be an option anymore?
Woof. I mean, the first couple weeks getting sober just feel amazing because I hadn't been sober. I mean, since I was like a teen, you know? So it's like, oh my gosh, my stomach felt better and I'm sleeping better. I'm like, wow, now I can wake up in the morning and I can drive at night. I felt like an old lady that got her license back. And then
Totally.
one day it hit me. I got a case of the SADs, you know, about one thing didn't go my way. And so I start thinking of all the things that don't go my way. I used to is, oh, well, I didn't get this. Well, and my dad's a minister and I'm a lesbian and I was molested, you know, and I still start playing that tape. And I'm like, oh man, what am I supposed to do? And I was just thinking about it. And so I was miserable. And I asked some people at the meeting, yeah, my brain's like, it's all over the place. I don't know what to do. And then somebody suggested that like I should start actually doing the program. It's a 12-step program, maybe work them, maybe do what they suggested, do the things that they'd been doing because they were all smiling and I still wasn't, and it had been 30 days. And so I was like, okay, I guess, you know, I'm either going to get a sponsor or smoke weed. And I couldn't decide which one, so I Googled it. And so Google was a mixed bag. And so some people were like, you can totally smoke weed, but you should probably lie to your sponsor about it. And I was like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll get one of these sponsors. And I picked the person sitting directly to my left. That's how hard I thought about it. I was just, you. And she was like, okay. And then life got better little by little.
Yeah. And in early sobriety, how was your creativity shifting? Did it feel hard in your career to be getting sober and still try to be funny without this coping tool?
I kind of took that first year, I don't want to say I took it off on purpose, but I wasn't working very much. And it helped me. I don't know, I started like believing the people around me that the most important thing that I could be doing right now is get sober. And so I had some people, like I had some comic friends of mine, they're like, what are you doing? Like, do you have a plan right now? I'm like, I'm just trying to make it sun up to sundown sober and then pat myself on the back. They're like, that's not going to get you a late night show. I'm like, I'm just trying not to drink today. Like I was trying like all the cliches just to keep it together because I was like, I don't know what the future holds, but I'm going to try real hard to go 2 feet in sobriety. And so I started doing these. I started doing Lego stop motion videos on YouTube for no reason, just because my wife was going nuts because she has a wife in early sobriety. And so she was building Legos. And I was like, oh, I'll write little songs in stop motion. It'll be real fun. She's like, fine.
Wait, are these still up? Can we find these
still
today?
Up. It's on a YouTube channel called Happy Go Bricks. And
Perfect.
So, yeah. And so and I wrote a theme song. They're like little music videos for kids. They're totally clean. Like anytime my wife would get a new Lego set, like one time she got a hot dog cart. And so I wrote a whole song about everybody wanting a hot dog, and people come by and the hot dog man throws them hot dogs, and I stop motioned hot dogs flying through the air, which is so magical and difficult and tedious. And I had nothing else to do but go to meetings and stop motion Legos and write music. And the fun part is a few, you know, at the end of like the first year of trying to get sober, I got offered some jobs on cruise ships. I'd never been clean enough to work cruise ships, and so I took them. And it turns out the music I was writing for the Lego videos was clean enough to play for families on cruise ships. And so I used some of those songs. Like, why would I ever play a hot dog song in my act? And it was the perfect song to sing to families and kids on a cruise ship where there's hot dogs. And so I would sing a hot dog song. And then, some of the songs I wrote, I ended up putting out a family-friendly, like music comedy album because of it. And that worked out really well. I mean, for me. But as the years went by, I think, like, what sobriety did give me was, and it wasn't instant, like I would have preferred, but what changed was I had to, I think through pandemic and sobriety and uncovering all the things that you uncover through sobriety, I had to learn how to be comfortable in my own skin, which I'd never been doing stand-up. And so my act eventually got much better because I got a lot more open and honest on stage, and I wasn't scared to talk about things like being gay or really embrace that even, or not care anymore what people think, whether it's like family or friends or people's idea of religion or especially audiences. I was playing a cruise ship early, like 1 or 2 years into sobriety, and there was a ship I was on with a new cruise director, and I was still working out some of my material. I was trying to figure out how to like talk about my wife, but and make it really family friendly, because it is family friendly to talk about my wife, and I was trying to figure out how to put it in there. And I had an audience on a cruise ship. A bunch of them filled out comment cards all at once saying they didn't like me promoting a lesbian lifestyle on the ship, and the cruise director was inexperienced, and instead of like I know a lot of cruise directors now that just would have been like, oh, thank you for your feedback, and they would have thrown them away and been like, well, we have many acts on the show that may be more appropriate for you. Instead, he sat me down and read them to me, and so I have all this like feedback of like, oh my God, these people hate me, and they hate me for being gay. And I was like, oh gosh, what to do with this knowledge, And so I left the meeting with him, and I called somebody in recovery, and I asked their opinion. And the answer I got from a person in recovery was, oh, that's none of your business what they think about you. Yeah, sorry that you had to hear that. I'm so sorry that they read them to you, but your job is not the critic. You're not. That's their job. They're allowed to critique you even. They can hate you. Did you write your material? I'm like, yes, I did. She goes, did you practice it? I go, yeah. She goes, did you do your best? I go, I did my very best. She goes, okay, that's it. That's it. That's your whole job. Do it again. And when that stuff happens, brush it off, and move on. And I was like, and that's changed the whole way I do stand-up.
The goosebumps I have because every listener needs to hear this. What step do you think helped you the most with this vulnerability, with this being able to be more confident and comfortable on stage?
Oof. I mean, I'm always a 2-3. I'm always in steps 2 and 3. It's finding something bigger than me to believe has my back, I guess. And so difficult for me coming in. Like my best friend told me, I told her when I was maybe 10 days sober, maybe less. I was like, oh, I'm going to these meetings, and she was like, oh, you're going to hate them. They're super Jesus-y. Oh my God, there's so many other ways to get sober. Let me look, I'll research some for you. I'll send you to some. I was like, okay, like as soon as I like get that Jesus-y vibe, I'm going to bounce. It never got Jesus-y, but it did. Like, I love that it's a great program for like spiritually curious people, and it encouraged me to stay spiritually curious, because like I don't like religion still. I'm still a little gun shy, and I won't go to church, don't like it, but it's for the people. And I've had a lot of great people like remind me that nobody knows the answer, so it's okay to, I don't know, mess around with lots of different deities and religions. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been dipping my toes in all kinds of different spirituality pools, and just the idea that there might be something I don't know, mystical and universal that has a plan for me, and it's a good plan, and all I got to do is kind of not get in the way of it, and not get attached to my plans, and to believe that I have a purpose on this earth, and that maybe I could be useful to helping the people around me. And just believing that makes me feel better. So that's my experience with 2 and 3.
To go from where you were as a kid who was super jazzed about Jesus and loving the camps and all of that, and then to watch it transform over the years, was there a point where like you weren't believing at all? Or did you always keep that faith that something was greater than yourself?
I think anybody that grows up that indoctrinated into a religion as I was cannot immediately go, as much as you want to, you cannot go straight atheist or agnostic. You go, oh man, I was a child of super evangelical, religion. I know what the euphoria of loving a God feels like. And I was talking to another friend, not in program, but just like someone that had come from a super Jesus-y church that does not participate in organized religion either. And my wife was asking about it. Why did you enjoy it so much? I was like, there was a euphoria. And my wife goes, I think you're using that word wrong. And our friend goes, no, she is. Unless you've been at the camp and sang the song with the kids and like had that feeling that you were in the, comforted by something, but you can't unremember that, And so I've always had like some sort of like, oh man, there's got to be something. And I don't know what it is or what it's called, you know, and I don't have to, but I kept that belief through all the really, really hard stuff. And I remember I'd always like pray to something, even on my hangover days. And I don't want to be like this forever. And I just want to be useful, you know, and, it was rough, hangovers and like the shame that came with all the drinking times. And so there is like now, like when people ask me what is sobriety like, I'm like, it's night and day different than it was, because, oh boy, I mean, I feel very useful now, and I feel like I'm a nice lady, and I don't just vote and pay my taxes, but I vote, I pay taxes. If like
you're not in jail anymore.
I'm definitely not in jail anymore. No, it seems so silly. But yeah, if a neighbor needs help, I'm the person that they would call. Yeah. And I don't have that, like, I don't wake up ever feeling like, oh no, what did I do? Sometimes I'll wake up and be like, ow, ow, you know, frozen shoulder, you know, menopause or whatever. But, you know, yeah.
Yeah. And does this intuition, this godlike presence in your life, does it guide your creative work now? Do you feel more connected to it when you're working than you were when you were drinking?
Yeah. Yeah. I think in everything, though. I think it's, I don't know, recovery is called a program, you know, and I like that because I know what I do every day because I'm programmed to do that. And part of it is waking up and like setting an intention for the day, if you want to call it that. And that's like letting my day have some sort of, you know, wind-like guidance. Where's the wind going to blow me today? And so I can kind of let go of all the plans that I would put in pen. I always say now that my plans are in pencil. And so, yeah, I try not to get really attached to ideas that I have about my career or creativity. Oh, let's see. You know, I'm just going to do what I've heard the next right indicated step. What's the next right thing? And try not to worry about, you know, 5 years down the road or 2 weeks down the road. But what's the next right thing that I should be working on right now? And then do that. Because of those next right things adding up, it's really given me a whole new, wonderful career that I would have never dreamed of before I got sober. I would have never dreamed this, ever, ever. The fact that I'm out of the closet and on stage is bananas to me. But the fact that I'm out of the closet and on stage and people want to hear me, and then like crazy shit happens, like I got to sing with Brandi Carlile and crowd surf through a hot tub with her. Like these are all like you're got to be talking about somebody else's life. This is crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. And I really feel like because we're sober, we're right where we need to be all the time. And it is trusting that intuition, that inner guidance. Are there any God shot moments, any stories you have about just knowing you were right where you needed to be right at the right time?
It's so, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say pandemic. I was having where's this world going? And I'm not thrilled with politics, you know, circling around 2019, you know, from 2016 to 2019, I was just wasn't thrilled with the political climate. Things didn't go my way. I was a little sad, upset about it. And then 2020, I was on a cruise ship, and when pandemic talks were, people were whispering about, oh, there's this thing in Japan, a pandemic, you know, COVID and shit. And I was like, oh no. Anyway, so I was on a cruise ship that actually had a case of COVID reported on it the week before we got on. And so on our way back from Hawaii, the captain told us that the person that had COVID on our ship the week before had died. And that there may have been some exposure between crew. So we're just going to go back early. And then by the time the next announcements over the next few days were just like, no, we're not going back early. Now we're not going back at all. And now they won't even let us land. And more cases are coming in. And now you're quarantined to your room and, you know, shuttled to a military base to quarantine for 14 days. And when I finally got off and got to go home, the entire world was shut down. We were in lockdown. And so I drove back from San Francisco in a rental car through LA, which was abandoned. And it was like apocalyptic. And I went home and I had the greatest sense of everything's going to be okay. Because for me, everybody on the planet right now is in the same boat, and something bigger than all of us just took control. Like, that's how I felt. I know that some people have said that's very, very silly. But I very much believe that if there's something big enough to shut the whole world down, That's great. That is great. Because that's bigger than one person or than one political belief system. And so now if I'm like upset by the news, I'm like, you know what? Whatever. It's none of my business. None of my business what's going on with the news. Things are exactly as they're supposed to be. There's something bigger than us running the show, yada, yada, yada. I don't know if I'm going to be working in 5 months. I don't know. There may be another pandemic. Who knows? I'm not in charge anymore. And that makes me feel good. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, I totally relate. You left out the best part of the story. I will never forget when you shared when you were on that military base and they were making you quarantine and they were like giving you the worst food, basically like a prison, shoving it under the door.
Yeah, 3 times a day with turkey. Always turkey sandwiches. Turkey sandwich, turkey sandwich. Turkey sandwich, turkey sandwich. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just like to hear you say it the way that you said it and breeze over the fact that how long were you quarantining?
14 days. It was 14 days. It was a little rough. That's when I started. I mean, there's a lot of things that I started. I learned how to work a Rubik's Cube. I learned how to started doing yoga. I got into a couple podcasts.
But you guys, she didn't drink. Can you imagine how many rooms and how many people were dying for alcohol, basically probably detoxing because all you were offered was a turkey sandwich. But at that time you were already sober and you could look at it. You reframed your thoughts from negative to positive. And, you know, it's not common, right? This is not how the world really functions. Like you said, we have a program for living that gets us through something that you could have just sat here for the next 5 minutes and complained about. But instead you were like, and now I know everything happens for a reason.
It was kind of the best. If you're in a military base quarantine, by the way, if this happens to you and you go, oh shoot, here I am, just remember these words. I learned this in 24 hours because the first 24 hours, I was not in acceptance of this. I was very upset and I was very scared. And I learned that negativity bounces off of the walls, but so does positivity. So I just learned if I can just change my attitude and go, for 14 days, I don't gotta do nothing. I don't have to work if I don't want to. If I want to buy a Rubik's Cube, I can Amazon Prime it to myself and a puzzle. But for the next 14 days, I have a TV. I'm here. I can go take a little walk around the property and come back. But that's all I have to do. And I can do this. You know, because if I'm mad about it, I can destroy this hotel room every single day for 14 days. Like, I can absolutely throw a tantrum. Or I can learn how to work a Rubik's Cube and put a puzzle together, you know. And I started doing online Zoom meetings immediately. And so for all my friends who were just like, I don't feel like doing Zoom. I don't understand Zoom. I was like, I had no choice. I don't like to go that long without meetings. And so I jumped on some Zoom meetings and I saw my friends. And they got to see my military base.
Yes. I remember this time and I remember thinking you and I are big believers in acceptance, of just accepting exactly reality as it is, that person, place, thing, or situation. Okay. As sad as it is, I know we're limited on time. I end with rapid fire questions. So I have a few questions for you, probably not as exciting as Kristin's podcast. So definitely go check her out after this. But what is one joke that surprised you with how much people related to it or something you had that might have gone viral?
It's about my wife. I have a joke about how we have different emotional levels. At Feelings with Crayons, I have a 64-pack. And at Feelings with Crayons, she has a restaurant 3-pack. I've been so surprised how many people have come up to me afterwards and be like, oh my God, my wife has maybe 3 crayons and I have all the crayons. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not just us then. Yeah.
That's so good. I love how witty you are and your creative mind and how it thinks. It's so beautiful. Okay. What song parody are you most proud of? Because if you don't know, again, just go, Spotify her, find her on YouTube. But what song parody you're most proud of?
This year, I think it was when Joanne's Fabric shut down. I did a parody of Jolene talking about Joanne's. I'm begging you, please don't take my crafts. And
I haven't seen this one.
It's really fun. I don't know if it just because I'm a crafter, because I crochet and I knit, I'm bistitual. It really did mean a lot that she shut down. And so I wrote a tribute song to Joanne's to the tune of Jolene. Yeah.
Oh
I'm
my
still
gosh,
playing
we
it.
will find that. Maybe I'll link it in the show notes.
Oh yes, please do. Yeah. It's
Okay.
on. Yeah, it's on all my socials and YouTube.
Perfect. All right. What is your go-to sober treat? What's your favorite thing to eat or drink that gets you by?
Oh, oh, oh. I'm gonna say Snicker bar. Snicker bar, because in the beginning, Snicker bar was the thing. I think during the fourth step, I was encouraged, like, whatever, take self-care when you're working on your fourth step. If you get sad or if you get physically ill because you're emotional, you're allowed to have self-care, something that you enjoy. What do you enjoy? And I'd be like, I guess a Snicker bar. And so then I just had it in my head, like, anytime I'm sad, I eat a Snickers. And I'm like, and then the church kicked me and eat a Snickers. So yeah.
Oh my God, this would be a great video. This is
An ad
I'm gonna
for
put
Snickers.
yeah.
Early in sobriety, grab a Snickers.
Yes. Oh my God, I want credit when this happens. This is so good. Okay. Oh, what is your go-to sober ritual when you're on tour or traveling? What is it that you have to do?
Couple things. I wake up, I do a little bit of yoga and I meditate every morning. And then before each show, I like have a mantra that I say, like in my spiritual world, about I want to bring joy to the audience and receive joy from the audience and be present in this moment. And that way I can remember that this show is not about me. It's not how many laughs I get. It's not about how well my material does. It's how well we connect with each other in this moment. So those are some things that I always do. If I ever forget to do that, I'll come off stage and be like, wow, that felt weird. I'm like, I made it all about me and they did not live up to my expectations. Instead of, I'm going to meet them where they're at and we're going to have like a really fun moment. So those are the things that from sobriety I've kind of taken and implemented into the life of a showgirl, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I love that. My favorite prayer is, God, please speak through me what others need to hear to stay sober today, because it literally removes my ego immediately. Like, oh, it's not about me.
Yeah.
And you're really there showing up that way. Like, this isn't about me.
It's not about me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about how can I make someone else feel. Yeah. All right, so what would you tell someone struggling trying to get sober today?
Oh boy, it gets better. It gets better. And ask for help. I'm going to say there's a lot of help out there. Like, you're not alone. It gets better. Ask for help. And I'm going to say this, and this is so controversial. I'm also going to say, and drinking is still an option. If you want to drink, you have an ID and you have money, and there is a bar that will serve you. You can try as many times as you want to see if it works, because I don't like it when people are like, oh, Kristin can't drink. I'm like, I sure can. I sure can. I have money. And I can go anywhere. Even if I told them I'm an alcoholic, but I would like that vodka and soda, they'd be like, okay, and serve me. And I can put that drink in my body. I do not drink because that is not the best option for me today. So like, yeah, if you're in early sobriety and if you're not sure if you want to be sober or not, go drink some more. See how it goes until you're ready to get sober. Like, because sometimes I feel like early sobriety, you really are looking for someone to rebel against. And you're like, oh, yes, people are telling me not to drink. No, we're not. I will tell you to go drink and see what happens.
Yeah.
And come back.
Exactly. Yeah. I think good sponsors do that. My first sponsor, I vented, bitched, and complained so much that they said, you can go out and drink anytime you want. Like, go ahead, go see how it works. That's exactly the advice. And it clicked something in my brain that said, holy shit, this is a personal choice. I am choosing to do this right now. Maybe I shouldn't be complaining so much, and maybe I could reframe and look at it totally differently. So I relate to that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. My last question is always, there is a trend on social media. If you could have coffee with your younger self, what would you show up and tell her?
Oh, sweet baby girl, you're gay. You're so gay. And it's okay. It's okay that you're gay. It's still, you're gay, and hats are too big for you, and you're always going to be pale and have small boobs. Like, they're all the same. These are facts about you. And it's all is true, but you're perfect just the way you are. Gay. You're so gay. Whatever. You're just so gay. Okay.
I love this. This is so good. Usually I get people to cry, and I'm like, nope, you're just very practical.
If I could go back in time, I mean, my like 16-year-old self would be like, this crazy lady just showed up to me in a coffee shop and was like, you're gay. You are gay, Kristin. Kristin, no, look at me. No, look at me. Look at me. Gay. You're so gay. No. Gay. Okay. Have a good life. Like, fucking life.
Can you even imagine if she showed up and said, not only are you gay, but you're also going to be sober? You probably would have laughed in her face.
This lady's crazy. This lady's nuts. That lesbian is crazy.
Like the Matrix, they took the blue pill or whatever it is.
Wow, somebody gets like the ghost of Christmas future. I got some weird old lesbian cargo shorts.
Oh my gosh, Kristin, where can listeners find you, follow you, see you on tour? I'll put the links in the show notes, but just give them a few here.
Oh, everything you need, you can go to KristinKey.com, and it's KRISTINKEY.com. That's got my full tour schedule. The new tour starts February of next year. It's the Caca Tour, and it's going all across America. I've got a few more tour dates this year, but everything can be found through my website. Follow me on all my social media because I put out new stand-up clips almost every day from Q&As I do on stage, so they're all improv moments. They're very, very funny. And I think that's it. Listen to my podcast, Kristin Knows Blank. It's been a whole lot of fun.
Yay. Kristin, thank you so much for sharing your humor and your honesty and your heart with us today. You just remind us that people and us healing doesn't have to be so heavy all the time. So thank you for the laughter. My sponsor that you knew who passed away used to say margaritas tomorrow. Like we can always go get margaritas tomorrow. So just for today, guys.
Yep. Tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Margaritas with Kate.
I am so grateful for this conversation. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me on. This was really fun. It's a great podcast.
Thank you.